Now, Kirby Smart said it best yesterday. When you look at the spring game, this is good on good. First team offense against first team defense. And we are underway in Athens. And it's an awesome atmosphere here at Sanford Stadium. It's just the environment leading up to the game, Aaron. You would really never know it's a spring football game, and that's exactly the attitude Kirby Smart wants Carson Beck and his players to have today.
You know, it's funny you bring up the good versus good, and he said this yesterday in our meeting with the coaching staff. He said this may be the best team you face the entire season, and he's not lying. I know there's Clemson and Texas and Alabama and Ole Miss on that schedule, but the guys across from you right now might be the most talented defense and offense you'll see all season long here this afternoon. Jared has shown 20 miles per hour, if not faster, in practices this season.
And Beck delivers it right on the money. Dylan Bell, reliable hands for Beck. And that offensive line gave him a clean pocket.
That's someone we ask, people ask, how do you replace Brock Bowers and all the things that Brock did, from splitting out to the outside to being in the slot to getting even jet sweeps. Dylan Bell, while he may not put his hand in the dirt, he's that Army Swiss knife that you can move around the offense.
Another play action for Beck. Unloads the deep ball, double coverage, and it sails incomplete. Beck set to throw again out of the backfield. Trevor Etienne with his first play in a Georgia uniform. Big expectations coming with Etienne from Gainesville to Athens. He had a terrific career in Florida in 2 seasons, nearly 1,500 yards rushing, 14 touchdowns.
Well, I think that's what they like from him, not only running the football, but catching it out of the backfield. And
great blocking by that offensive line. Beck floats it, incomplete.
Expectations that they themselves take their step up. Will not see Malachi Sarkso, unfortunately, this afternoon.
3rd and long, Beck to the end zone. It's caught, but incomplete. Bell didn't get a foot in bounds.
The next pass was caught by Dylan Bell.
What an absolutely dime, and I think he got in. I think that right foot is in. And you and I today, there is no replay officials. I think you and I are tasked with that. So I might need to call down to the field and say, hey, overturned, right foot down, touchdown 86.
Woodring into the ball game. He read field goal.
So the offense was really rolling there on the opening drive, and the defense bows up. Forces a 42-yard field goal attempt for Peyton Woodring. Came in his freshman season and won the primary kicking duties. And he puts it right down the middle from 42. Stockton steps up, delivers a deep ball, and it's caught! What a grab! Anthony Evans hauled it in. And Gunnar Stockton off to a great start in this spring game.
That's how you build some confidence and get the fans excited. Throw the ball deep down the field on your very first pass. That's someone, too, I'm interested to watch. Anthony Evans, the speed of number 5 on the outside.
Big play threat, and we saw it there on the first play. Quick hitter. Michael Jackson, the transfer from USC, with his first grab. Take another look at this.
Great protection up front. Might have been a sack, but we're going to be a little bit generous with the whistle. But great job going up, getting the football, and then the body control to come down and get a few extra yards for Anthony Evans.
And Evans doing that against a 5-star freshman cornerback, KJ Bolden, part of this #1 recruiting class. Both Bolden and Robinson are 5-star corners, playing on the second-team defense in red. Paul turns the corner, inside the 5. Andrew Paul, one of the stable of backs for this Bulldogs team.
Well, you watch defensively, something that really hampered Georgia last year was being able to set the edge defensively, and that's something they feel like with those 4- and 5-star guys they got a year ago, now year 2 in the system, been able to bulk up a little bit more through the training program, that those guys are going to be better at once again setting that edge, funneling everything back to the middle of the field. But right there, offensively, great job being able to hit it, get down to the 1 yard line.
Right back to Paul, and he bulldozes his way into the end zone. Touchdown. His second team offense worked quickly. They go 75 yards in just 4 plays.
Now, you brought up early on to start the broadcast of just some of the youth defensively, and you know, if you're young with your ones, you're going to be even younger, obviously, most likely with the second unit. So there's a lot of guys fighting to earn a spot on the defense side of the football, and right now looks like the offense through both first series looking pretty good in Mike Bobo's second season. Take advantage of that, and you set yourself up nicely.
Beck throwing on third down, and he overshot Lovett there.
I want to go back to the transfer portal, because the portal does open in a week, and I know there is a lot of, why would you schedule G-Day on the same weekend as the Masters? And I think they wanted to kind of make sure they wasn't bleeding into the transfer portal, which opens up here in a few days. But I asked Kirby, there's a lot of coaches that utilize the next window to maybe fill some holes, and Kirby doesn't really need to. And maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but you look at the roster, there is not a lot of holes on this Georgia team where you feel like you need to bring in some more competition for the summertime.
Yeah, I think you look at this roster, and there's competitive depth at every position. It's not just, okay, we like our ones.
Yep.
How much does that help the transition from high school football to college football?
No, it's all about understanding the reps, the playbook, any chance you get out there and get film. And nice throw there from Gunner, and those are throws to the flat. You have to be accurate so the receiver can catch it, to really not only work on his fundamentals when he is able to go out there and practice, but almost be like a coach, which helps take your game to an even higher level when you really dive into the X's and O's.
ETN bouncing outside, breaks a couple of tackles. There's a flag down, first one of the day. This might be coming back for the transfer from Florida.
Yeah, it's going to be on Lawson Lucky, number 7, the number 2 tight end. And that's something he's working on. Lawson, an incredible athlete. For those who remember last year's spring game, to the right side of your line, you see him locked up and just holds Chambliss a little bit too long there.
Tight end room, Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky lead that list. Back right over the middle, Dominic Lovett, his first reception of the spring game. They want him to take a step forward, become more of a real playmaker.
And you saw flashes throughout the season last year. You saw flashes of him, you saw flashes, love of Carson's eyes right there, working from left to right, knowing that he has just to move a couple linebackers to be able to hit that dig right over the middle of the field. But, man, Dom Lovett in the slot, what he did at Missouri, looking for big things out of him this season as well.
The end of the first quarter, Kirby Smart, the Georgia Bulldogs, preseason favorites to win another national championship. We're giving you a preview today in Athens.
But there's some young talent at the receiving spot that they're really excited about. Anthony Evans, who we saw a nice catch from earlier, Rara and Dom Love in their second season.
ETN sheds a couple of tacklers across midfield. He's got a nice burst out of the backfield, Trevor Etienne.
And that's something, too, that you didn't feel like you had consistency last year at the running back position when it comes to just guys staying healthy, and then the explosive plays, whether it's in the run game or in the pass game as well, catching the ball in the backfield. You lost Branson Robinson for the season. Hopefully he's back come the start of next season, but number 1 looks pretty darn good in red and black. Nice catching the ball earlier in the game, and then a nice run there as well.
Taking advantage of this one, Aaron. I'm told that the quarterbacks have been using that helmet comm system in the scrimmages so far this spring. Now, we did see this introduced in some of the bowl games last season, but the Orange Bowl was not one of them. So this spring scrimmages and today's G-Day game are the first game-type simulations these quarterbacks are getting to experience that system. Yeah,
I told Bobo during scrimmages, I didn't need the headset because I could hear him screaming at me from the booth up here. Nothing worse than making a mistake in a scrimmage and hearing Mike Bobo's echoes throughout Sanford Stadium, and you just want to go hide into you want to go hide in Uga's little doghouse.
A 3rd and 2 here for Beck. Floats it up, one-on-one coverage. And it's hauled in, great grab, Dom Lovett. He's made a couple of good ones in this first half.
What an absolute present from Carson. I love, look at his eyes, held the middle of the safety for the first 2 steps of the drop and then ripped him over there knowing he has one-on-one coverage with Dom Lovett on that inside fade, throws it to the outside, lets him essentially fall into the reception. Beautiful pitch and catch from 15 to 6.
Third and goal, back deflected at the line, and it's intercepted. Mykel Williams. Now in his junior season, Williams, one of the best defenders on this team, and you saw why there.
We met with Mykel yesterday, and my goodness, a massive human being. And someone that's going to be moving around a lot, playing defensive end and outside linebacker. Extreme athleticism to knock it, locate it. INT for the Dogs.
Aaron Murray, Jay Alter, Taylor Davis down on the sideline, giving you a taste of what to expect from Georgia come the fall. Almost back-to-back terrific defensive plays. We saw Mykel Williams do it for the black team. That's Chris Cole, 5-star freshman linebacker, #1 player in the state of Virginia. You see why here.
Oh my goodness, nice back-to-back. You said it, almost close interceptions. That's a position that they really want to see step up and take their game to another level. That outside spot, you bring in one of the best from the high school ranks, already making a nice little name for him right with that play here this afternoon.
Yeah, that's one to watch. Linebacker from Salem, Virginia. 6'3", 225. And you come in with that 5-star next to your name. People know about you. Robinson, Williams, Bolden, Cole, all 5 stars according to ESPN 300, #1 overall ranked class. And all those guys right there, the top guys on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, and they did the same thing last year. A lot of elite guys on the defensive side they got in the recruiting class, and then Kirby doubles down, understanding that even in today's game, with all the rules that favor the offense, with everything that offenses do, I still need to be sound on the defensive side.
Where do you feel like the strength of this Georgia defense lies headed into next fall?
You know, last year was the DBs. I mean, last year is one of the most talented defensive backfields in the country with Javon Bullard and Malachi and Tyke and Kamari Lassiter. You lose 3 of those, and now you got to replace them. So the DBs are TBD. You know, we want to see what some of these young guys look like. I think they're very talented, but I would say in the interior, Warren Brinton flashed a lot for me last year. I think Nazir Stackhouse is an absolute stud in the interior as well. So between those two, some of the depth at D-tackle, and then the inside linebackers, those guys in their second season, kind of right in the heart of that defense is where you feel really good if you're a Bulldog.
Well, when you have to replace Cedric Van Pran, easier said than done. Beck slings it right on the money. A dart. Colby Young, the transfer from Miami, brings it in.
Not only was that an absolute missile on a dagger route, which is a very difficult throw, but Colby Young, I want to see his ability to kind of, with someone draping on him, turn, body control, high point the ball going backwards. That's what you love. That 6'3", 6'4" receiver that is just a big frame over the middle of the field that, hey, man, I'm just going to rip it. I'm going to throw it over a linebacker's head and trust that my big receiver is going to make a play for me.
Right on the money again, Lawson Lucky. First team offense trying to find their rhythm here after the defense has dominated so far, and somebody down on that sideline might like that the defense is dominating, Taylor.
Y'all still got that same college bond that's translated to the NFL?
Yeah, yes, man, most definitely.
That's awesome. awesome. Now, Kirby Smart, a guy that also knows a thing or two about defense. How did being coached by a guy with such defensive wisdom help you as a player?
A lot, man. Just breaking down the game, playing the game within the game is what they say. A lot, So just breaking the game, making it as simple as possible, so you don't have to think out there. So I feel like playing the game like that makes it the best.
If you've ever been to a Georgia practice, you always hear the voice of Kirby over above ringing throughout the indoor.
A 3rd and 9, first team offense going against the first team defense. Beck over the middle. It's caught inside the 5. Helmet off. Dominique Lovett. The transfer from Missouri now in his 2nd season with Georgia. Another big play.
Well, we always hear positivity coming out of spring. Spring is everyone's going to win a national championship, everyone's going to win a Heisman, everyone's going to be All-American. So you never really know, but then actually seeing, because we've heard a lot about Dom's taking this big step in year 2 from practice notes and all that. But man, you watch him on the field today, number 6 really has taken and elevated his game to another level.
That's his 4th catch, 73 yards to go along with it. Jump ball in the end zone, and it's caught. Colby Young. He's going to be a red zone threat this fall. Keep an eye on number 8 when Georgia's near the end zone.
Well, we saw the incredible body control by 8 on the dagger route, being able to go get it a little bit behind him. And then once again, one-on-one, defensive back draped on him. I love Carson Beck. Just get the ball out now. Throw it up. 6'3", one-on-one against Julian Humphrey. And great snag for the touchdown.
This spring compared to last spring, you remember he was in that battle with Brock Vandergrift to be the number 2 a year ago. Brock transfers to Kentucky, so it's Stockton really all alone in that 2 spot. The early enrollee freshman, Ryan Puglisi, big arm. They really like that true freshman Puglisi, but he got banged up midway through spring camp after 7 practices, so Stockton got all of his reps as well. Third and 9. Stockton slings it, incomplete and nearly intercepted. Tried to squeeze it into a tight window. Jake Pope was there.
Yeah, 2-man. You would love to see the receiver kind of bend it across the face of the safety. Gunner's trusting that he's going to do that, but still a very risky throw. Great job defensively, being able to keep, and Kyron Jones, keep the slot receiver more towards the numbers and not let him kind of bend it across the middle of the field.
Kirby's going to leave the 2nd team offense on the field for this 4th and 9. Stockton puts it short. Turnover on downs. I think both the 1st team defense and the 2nd team defenses dominated this first half.
Yeah, and it was funny because the first drive for each offense looked really, really good. And once again, man-to-man coverage, great job. Pretty much everyone blanketed on the outside in a 2-man defense. First offense moved the ball down the field. I thought it was a touchdown by Dylan Bell. Our producer said no, so they didn't give it to him. Field goal, but a nice drive. Offense for the 2nd team moves the ball right down the field, scores a touchdown. So offense kind of moving, and defense since then has really done a great job, besides the last possession for Carson Beck and his offense, of really slowing things down for these guys on the offense side of the football. On Kirby Smart's defense, but those guys, by all accounts, can handle that responsibility.
Defense has looked real good today, and it's another interception. C.J. Allen, we were just talking about him. And he makes a huge play there to pick off Beck. His 1st team defense has been dialed in the spring game.
Everyone dropping, and Beck just trying to force one in there. Really, he's keeping his eyes to the right to move one of the inside linebackers and just does not get it over fast enough to see that C.J. Allen was dropping right into coverage on that seam route. Would have been better just checking it off for an easy completion. Once again, we just were harping on him. Number 3, year 2 as that guy, the inside linebacking spot. Really taking that defense as his own.
Now that's a name Georgia fans already know, C.J. Allen, but the whole country is going to be talking about him this fall.
Well, there's another new dog right there, number 16, London Humphreys. The transfer from Vanderbilt had a nice touchdown versus Georgia last year, for those who remember the game early on for the Commodores. Making his first reception here as a Bulldog in G-Day.
Back-to-back completions from Gunnar Stockton. Jaden Reddle hauled that one in.
I've seen a lot of two-man cover two, so that running back man-on-man on the linebacker at some point is going to be a good option.
Stockton goes right back to the freshman tight end.
And right now, you have to understand, what's the time for Gunnar Stockton? 33 seconds, 30 seconds. Get everyone lined up. This is great for the young quarterback.
Trying to cash in after the C.J. Allen interception. Miscommunication there. Route was broken off. Good coverage by Ellis Robinson. ESPN had him as the #1 recruit in the 2024 class. #1 in red.
Well, right now, offensively, too, there's a good learning moment for Gunnar, understanding that, hey, we've seen a lot of two-man, but when you start getting into red zone, this defense doesn't want to give them a field goal. They don't want to give up any points before halftime. So you've seen back-to-back plays now or inside cross-dog pressure from the linebacker, so you have to be kind of antennas up. Hey, they want to push me out of field goal range, so have to expect pressure possibly.
Stockton in trouble, escapes it. Be short of the first down, but you'll be in field goal range here with the clock at 13 seconds left in this first half.
Justin Williams with the tackle. Fourth down. Liam Badger to send the field goal for the Black Kings.
Liam Badger on to convert this 38-yard field goal attempt to tie it at 10 going in to halftime, and he does.
Field goal attempt is good.
Well, no doubt, Aaron, the defense dominating the Georgia spring game so far.
Hey, Georgia defense, hey, we saw some positives, some receivers on the outside. Carson made some good throws. Obviously want to get rid of those turnovers, but I would say Kirby Smart's walking away pretty happy with what that first half looked like.
Michael Williams and C.J. Allen, two linebackers that you're going to see all fall long for Georgia. 2 interceptions in the first half. Between the hedges on a game day in Athens for the first time in 2024. Big plays being made all over the field. So it's going to take a little while for the hedges to grow and mature, because you're used to seeing decades-old hedges, Taylor, and now these are baby hedges here in Athens.
They're baby hedges. That is a good way to put it. You know, they have a ways to go, but they're small but mighty. You know, I still know I'm between the hedges. They're carrying the tradition.
I just love the fact that the last time Georgia had new hedges, Kirby Smart was a sophomore playing for the Dogs.
They saw a lot of ball, you know.
Oh, yeah. Some of the best ball, and now taking over at his alma mater. And I love that interview you did with Brock Bowers, Taylor. It feels like every former player you talk to credits how hard Kirby coaches this team in practice and scrimmages to the success.
It's the one consistent thing, a very old school approach. And I was actually talking to Brock before we started doing that. He's so humble and so grounded, and that's another thing that stood out to me about these guys that have been coached by Kirby Smart. Their perspective hasn't shifted regardless of the level of success they reach.
Those special teams miscue there. You're not really supposed to go after the return man.
All right, Coach, thoughts from the first half. Thoughts from the first half.
Thoughts from the first half? Defense played with more emotion, more energy than they probably have all spring, and I thought they did a really good job against the offense. Offense had a couple unlucky breaks there with the tip ball that Carson gave up. So.
What about number 8 playing in the slot right now? Nice dagger route, then the fade touchdown. Looks like a possible home run in the portal.
I don't know about a home run. I mean, we got to go easy on home runs. I mean, you guys make one play and y'all ready to say a home run. He's had a good spring. He works his tail off, does a good job. Quarterback there. We got stealth quarterbacks.
Guys, stay away from the quarterback. Kirby Smart told his number 15 go down once there in the first half. Don't want to mess around with him. Let's talk about 15, Carson. Obviously, a couple picks. One wasn't, unlucky. With a tip. But overall, made some pretty nice throws, especially number 6 in the slot.
Yeah, he's made those all spring. He's done a really nice job with his reads. Really confident. O-line's got to help him out a little more today. He's had a little more pressure than we've had. In most of camp. He's done a really nice job. That one ball, C.J. Allen baited him a little bit, made a nice play, and fell back in zone.
Beck throwing here on a 3rd and 9. Another deflected ball at the line of scrimmage. You just heard Kirby Smart not happy with his offensive line. It's a group that Beck heaped a ton of praise on, Aaron, but they have struggled, and that defensive line is feasting.
Oh, that's a unit we talked about, though, the defensive line. Those guys, big, physical, long bodies that able to get some push up front, get those big hands up and knock it down. And that's a good sign for Georgia. Obviously, you want that offensive line to dominate, but, man, that defensive line has looked good this entire spring game here this afternoon.
Yeah, that was Michael Williams again getting a paw on it. He tipped one to himself earlier for an interception. Well, it has been all Carson Beck and Gunnar Stockton at quarterback. Those are the 2 healthy scholarship quarterbacks here in Athens for the spring game. And now we get our first look at Colin Drake, walk-on junior from Ennis, Texas, south of Dallas. It's interesting, Aaron, you were just speaking with Kirby Smart, and he was really happy with how his defenses looked, but frustrated in particular with that first-team offensive line, which was touted as one of the best in the nation.
It's funny, we talked about that because Carson met with Carson first, and Carson brought that up about, hey, this offensive line's going to win the Joe Moorhead. I love the confidence from the quarterback, but Kirby said, made sure he came in and told us, hey, that unit has not won anything yet. They need to continue to stay hungry and humble. So, a lot of work to be done, but we talk about the competition. That's why Kirby wanted to go good on good today. He didn't want the one offensive line dominating the second unit, or the second, first defensive line dominating the second offensive line. They wanted those guys getting after it, go back, evaluate the film, and like we said from the beginning, this may be the best offensive line and defensive line you face the entire season here this afternoon.
Well, think about that when you consider the schedule Georgia has as Drake unloads a deep ball, had it on the fingertips of Brandon Moody, couldn't quite haul it in. That Texas and Ole Miss weeks, it is a gauntlet this year for Georgia. Here's Gunnar Stockton getting his first action with the first team offense. How about Roderick Robinson laying the lumber? He is a powerful, stocky back, 6 foot, 245. Man, this kid is a monster, Aaron. How is it being up close seeing that?
I don't want to tackle him, that's for sure. Seeing him live on the field, I was right behind that play, and seeing him turn the corner and put his shoulder down with that speed, size against a corner, you gotta go low. And I think right now, obviously in a spring game, you're not trying to take him with his legs out, but DB's got to go a little bit lower on the big guy. I tell you what, though, too, being on the field and seeing 13 Michael up in person, we saw him yesterday sitting down with him, just an absolute behemoth of a human being. I mean, just looks like a top 5, top 10 pick in the NFL draft. And we highlighted that earlier on the game, just what he's doing this season, moving more to that outside linebacker, stand-up role, going to rush the passer, obviously, but continue to work on his athleticism in space. But my goodness, seeing what he looks like in person, he is very impressive, and you see why he's been so disruptive this afternoon.
Puts his hand in the dirt to try and stop the run here. You know, they're going to mix and match him, like you said, Aaron. Sometimes like that, his hand will still be in the dirt, lined up on the line. Sometimes they'll stand him up, and he'll rush as a linebacker. Jalen Walker making the stop there for this Bulldogs defense. It's interesting. Williams was very honest with us. He goes, now as a junior, sure, I have to play well individually, but I have to let the younger guys know the standard, what it means to play defense for Georgia.
I got Kirby back here. There. Hey, Kirby, 14. Gunner made a great play to start the game. Thoughts on 14 so far?
He's had a really good spring, man. He understands the offense better, playing with confidence. Good throw there to the back. Good job. And he's been really good. At first, he started great there with that big throw. He's really a mobile guy that we don't get to use that right now because we're not tackling him, you know, so he doesn't get to run around and do quarterback design runs that he can actually do. But his spring has been really impressive for me. I'm proud of him.
All right, I just talked to you about number 13 walking off the field right now, but, man, he's impressive to look at in person. Where have you seen the big growth from Michael this offseason?
Well, he's practiced. He had an injury last spring, so he couldn't do it. And this spring he's been able to. It's been huge for him to get the spring in. I thought he missed some practice time in fall camp that hurt him, and he's in a lot better spot now.
Nice hole for the offensive line. Andrew Paul runs right through it. Powerful runner, Andrew Paul, redshirt sophomore out of Dallas, had 129 yards a year ago. He'll take another step forward this season, Aaron.
All right, impressive running back play. Coach, I want to go to that position right now. A lot of injuries last year, on and off, but it seems like you got a nice stable back and still one to come in the fall. What have you seen so far from those guys this spring?
They've done a good job. We've had some injuries to that position. Some guys have been making up, cash hitting out here today, so AP's getting a chance to step up. But I've been really pleased with those backs. They've done a good job.
Stockton goes right back to Paul, swallowed up immediately.
Repetitions here in the offseason.
And Gunnar Stockton, the backup quarterback, working with the first team offense for the first time, showing off the arm strength. But just too much on that ball. 3rd and long. Takes your breath away. So thank you to Kirby. Thanks, Taylor. Thanks, Adam, our producer, for surprising me. And there's something to be said. I'm sure we're not the only ones that football and being a passionate fan can be such a distraction, such a blessing when you're going through a difficult time. The comfort of seeing the Georgia Bulldogs or whoever your team is that you root for on a Saturday. And we certainly had that this fall. How about this for Gunnar Stockton? He just ran with the ones, and now he's back running with the twos. Busy day for the backup quarterback.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of good film to go back for Gunnar and go back and sit down with Coach Bobo and this offensive staff and just say, hey, this is what we need you to work on. If you're truly going to be our number 2 guy here to start the season, number 2 quarterback on the best team in America, and one play away from being the guy, these are the things that we need you to work on over the next 4 or 5 months before fall camp. And like Kirby just said, speaking with him, he's really taken some major strides, and I feel like they think they're just scratching the surface on what 14 could possibly be here when given the opportunity someday.
One thing that Coach Smart said they made a concerted effort to do with Gunnar Stockton this spring was after a play, pull him over and say, hey, what'd you see? What coverage was out there? And he said most of the time this kid is getting the right answers. It's just a matter of acclimating to a game environment and continuing to grow.
Well, I also think, too, I mean, he was part of a two-way battle last year, and Brock ended up being more that number 2 guy. And you know, I was in a situation when I got redshirted. You kind of go through the motions that redshirt year. You know, you don't really feel like you're going to play, maybe not as engaged. And when Brock left to go to Kentucky before the bowl season, you know, his game really elevated because his mindset was, I'm one play away from possibly getting in the field. And they've seen a major shift of what he's been able to do both in the classroom when it comes to football and then on the field throughout bowl practice this offseason heading into the spring game.
This defense just swarming to the football. This is exactly what you're going to see all fall. And Kirby Smart told us Yeah, this is good on good. You're going to get your best look at our first team defense, our best look at our first team offense. And for all the love coming into the spring game about the best offensive line of the country, Carson Beck couldn't say enough good things about those 5 up front. And they might be the best offensive line in the country, Aaron. They're just going against a very motivated defense today.
Yeah, motivated defense, like Kirby said, just maybe a little bit more passion. And when you got 2 elite units, the one that brings the most energy is going to be the one that goes. And first catch of Arian Smith right there. That's a guy they've also said has really taken his game to another level this offseason. 11 with that elite speed is going to be dangerous down the field.
Yeah, hard to guard in a deep wide receiver room as we head to the 4th quarter in the G-Day game.
And the first real pressure situation that Coach Smart alluded to was that Auburn game. He said in spring is when he started showing his moxie, his pocket presence, that he could be the guy. But that Auburn game was his first really tough environment where his back was against the wall. He said after that is really when he took off, and he hasn't looked back since.
And you mentioned it. He was on the roster for those 2 national championships, but he doesn't consider himself a national champion. He wants to be able to be the quarterback that brings another national championship here to Athens.
That's a competitor.
Aaron Murray has rejoined us in the booth after getting down on the field up close. What did you notice down there that maybe we're not seeing up here?
Well, like I said about Michael, they're just massive. I mean, they are. I mean, I cover this conference. I go to a lot of teams, and get to see them, pre-game warm-ups and on the field, see them when they put their shoulder pads on. And that's the one thing that Kirby is really focused on is just recruiting really big people and then turning them into even better athletes when they get here through the strength program, through the way they train and practice. I mean, they're the team that walks off the bus and you turn your head like, oh my goodness, this looks like an NFL team.
Quick hitter to Ra Thomas. Ahead of this 3rd and 3. ETN couldn't quite turn that corner. They put a lot on the quarterback, and Kirby's not shy. Even in the recruiting process, he'll tell a kid, hey, in our system, it's a quarterback system. We have a high volume of plays. A lot falls on your shoulders. It takes a special type of person to fit that system.
It does, and which is why, the transition was almost seamless when it came to Monken moving on to the NFL and Bobo stepping in. Bobo came in as an analyst. This is Kirby just always one step ahead. You bring Bobo in, a guy that's called plays at a high level. You have him learn from Monken. That way you understand, hey, I got Carson Beck ready to take over. Let's not change the system up on him. Bobo was able to take over the same playbook, the same terminology, put his little twist on it, but really allowed Carson to kind of take it and run from what he's done previously under Monken.
I know Robinson moves the chains here on a 4th and 1, but look at Michael Williams. Wow.
I'll tell you, that is a grown man, number 13. Reminds me of a guy I played against, Jadeveon Clowney. You just look at him from the defensive end spot, and you're saying, we got to find a way to get 4 hands on that dude because he's going to be a disruptor both in the run game and the pass game.
Has 2 batted balls, an interception. Just feels like he's always around the ball.
And dominating, lets you play a little bit more too high.
Beck taking a shot to the end zone. Couldn't quite connect with Colby Young. I liked what Kirby had to say about Young. You're trying to give some love to a transfer who's come in and in just 15 practices made a big impact on the offense. You called it a home run transfer, and he said, I don't know about a home run.
Kirby doesn't like that rat poison. Don't you be saying that. I don't need these kids getting a big head out here, but he has had a very impressive spring from all accounts, and obviously made some big time catches today where it looks like this kid is going to be able to come in there and play really well, especially in situations.
Oh, you're a father. The parents have to be strict. But yes. Uncle Aaron coming into Athens, he
give
can
all the treats.
Aflac kickoff game is the nation's longest running kickoff game, August 31st. You do not want to miss it. Georgia and Clemson. Gunnar Stockton still in and still balling out. That's Tuggle, freshman from Indiana.
That ball got some zip on it too. A few hitches, feeling some pressure on his backside, and just threw a little missile out there to the young mid-year Tuggle for a nice completion. We've seen Gunnar today from the very first pass of the game, deep throw down the field, really showing off what he can do vertically.
And that's London Humphreys. So again, the depth at wide receivers on full display here at the Georgia spring game.
I know a lot of people are excited to get 16 from Vanderbilt. Feeling if okay, this could be our new Ladd McConkey, and you look at the depth chart right now, and you're like, man, I got to get through this guy and that guy and that guy. So I know we might have said it a couple times today, but I know a lot was lost, but there is a lot coming back at the receiving position, and some good key transfer guys as well.
Well, think about this. We've been playing football for nearly 2 hours now. 18 different players have caught a ball in this game.
Downs, red zone situations, and then Humphreys will continue working to that slot position as well.
Plenty of room to run here. Inside the 10, tiptoeing down the sideline, and it's White into the end zone for the first time in a Bulldog uniform. The pride of Cartersville, Georgia, part of this star-studded #1 recruiting class in the country.
And nothing better than being a guy that's supposed to be in high school, coming out there on your very first G-Day, get a nice simple ball in the flat, and then turning it up, making a move. Great block on the outside there from his fellow mid-year Tuggle, and then getting in the end zone.
Beck buying himself time, floating incomplete. Couldn't quite land it safely to Andrew Paul.
And the more that you can do that and get after the quarterback, the more success you're going to have.
The game. The Dogs here in punt formation, and the good-looking man from Melbourne, Thorson, punts the ball away, and wow, that may bring rain. Wise decision and a fair catch, and Thorson jogs off.
Thorson's a character. I love that. We got to get him on some golf coverage, the Australian, and he's a great punter as well. He hosts a podcast with Tate Ratledge, the all-SEC first-team right guard. Those two are hilarious. Highly recommend listening to those guys.
Absolutely trip. He's such an incredible personality. Like you said, first and foremost, an incredible punter to boot. Can really knock that thing as far as you need to go. So getting him back, not just for the entertainment aspect, but also when needed to punt to knock someone in the 20 is a huge get for Kirby Smart and this football team.
3rd and 12 here for Stockton. They blow that play dead for a sack before Stockton could get rid of it. Beck again, pressure bearing down, had to get rid of it, dropped by Arian Smith. And now a decision to make. If you're Kirby, leave the offense out here for a 4th and 3 instead of punt it away, which would effectively end the spring game.
Yeah, they got 3 timeouts to go, so you could. But now let's put some more pressure on Team Red and Carson Beck here. 4th and short, essentially for the game right now. See if 15 can execute.
Dogs defense sends pressure, tipped, and the defense delivers again. The Georgia spring game belongs to this Bulldog defense. Malachi Starks, who didn't even play today, another veteran on that Dogs defense, celebrating with the first team D. So somebody's got to win, someone's got to lose. The good news for Bulldogs fans and for the first-team offense is that defense is their teammates come to fall. Going against them today was difficult.
Yeah, you would have loved to see a couple more plays execute down the field offensively. I thought we saw some flashes from some Dom Lovett and Colby, and you saw Etienne make some great plays. But this is a defense that's going to contend for one of the better ones in the country this year.
To the spring game. Stockton throws to the end zone a little too high. Over the head of Cole Spear. Stockton denied a touchdown. That's a terrific play. Jake Pope with a great read on that ball. He's had 2 pass breakups this afternoon.
Try to gun in there, maybe just a hair bit late, and balls in the back of the end zone. You want to throw a little bit higher so a defender cannot make a play, but a tremendous job by 22, Jake Pope, extending out here late with less than a minute to go in the spring game, trying to make a play for his defense.
And what a treat this has been. Getting a great preview. You know, a lot of spring games are sneak peeks. This is a full-on preview of what's to come this fall for the Georgia Bulldogs. Absolutely will be one of the preseason favorites to win the national championship. It starts with trying to win the SEC, something they failed to do a year ago, and that's been a huge chip, a huge motivator all spring long for these guys.
Oh, we get one more opportunity, another 2-minute drive for Carson Beck with a few timeouts, only down a touchdown. Unable to convert last time, 4 and out for this offense, but one more crack at it for Mike Bobo, offensive coordinator, second season here for the University of Georgia, second go-around at the University of Georgia in that position. It's a lot of throws for a spring game. I don't remember the last time I've seen a starting quarterback throw the ball 42 times in a spring game.
Now he's going to sling it a couple more times on this final drive. 3 timeouts, 50 seconds to work with for Beck. A couple of broken tackles just shy of the 50 for Dom Lovett. Feels like when the chips are down, Beck's first read is going to be number 6 in red. Lovett.
And especially him playing in the slot. I think Carson feels very comfortable working over the middle of the field. Not all quarterbacks like to do that. There's just a lot of bodies there. Carson being a veteran guy, bigger quarterback, sees the entire field well. So if you can get 6 matched up against a nickel or a linebacker or a safety, you really like that. But no, I'm with you. 6 is Dom Lovett has really impressed today, shown some wiggle, not only catch, but then able to get north and south afterwards.
93 yards for Lovett. Beck, clean pocket. Right on the money. Carson Beck threads the needle. Ra Thomas. And just like that, the first team offense rolling.
I can't tell you how good this throw is. This is elite as elite can be. 2-man, man-to-man coverage with high safety help, throwing to the field in an absolute rocket from number 15.
Beck in the red zone, takes a shot, swatted incomplete. Good protection there. Dan Jackson and Patrick Taylor to deny Lawson Lucky a touchdown.
I don't know if many quarterbacks, maybe a handful of quarterbacks, not only in college football, but the NFL can make the throw that Carson just made.
Beck floats to the end zone. Lovett into the hedges, and he held on. Dom Lovett with the highlight of the spring game, a touchdown to tie it with less than 30 seconds to go. Wow.
You got to go for 2 now. You got to go for 2. We ain't walking away with a tie. You got to go for 2, but this was an incredible. I don't even know. I got to see the replay. I don't know how he caught this football.
He pins it on the back of Patrick Taylor. Look at this.
Unbelievable catch. 6 has had himself a statement game here. Into the brand new baby Hedges goes number 6.
And you're right, Aaron. Kirby Smart saying, we're going to settle this. No, Beck's just there to hold it for Woodring.
No!
Hey, this is best case scenario. You can tell them, hey, we all played hard.
Someone needs to eat the beanie weenies and someone has to eat the steak.
This one looks like it's going to be tied at 20. There is 27 seconds left to work with for Gunnar Stockton. What a catch by Lovett. We got to see that one more time. Spectacular.
All right, good thing that fence is nice and forgiving.
Well, it's a new fence as well.
Yeah.
So new hedges.
Well, they
for
may
the
need a
first
new
time
fence.
in 31
They may
years.
need a new fence after that one, but
Yeah.
I think that question, that narrative was answered today of who will Carson Beck be throwing the football to in 2024?
Yeah, 7 catches, over 100 yards, and a touchdown to end the spring game. What a day for Dom Lovett. And no doubt that was the best play of the game on either side of the ball. Carson Beck looked really impressive, getting the ball back, knowing you need a touchdown, 51 seconds, and he scores in less than 30.
Well, that's the other thing, too, about having a veteran quarterback. There's a sense of
defense, number 31. 15 yards added to the run.
there's a sense of confidence as we go look at the face mask on the previous play, which I don't know about that. Of situational football. That's a great thing with a guy that's been here forever. There's a confidence in the huddle that Carson's been there, done that, has done the 2-minute drives, has done the red zone, third downs, all of that. It's just a sense of confidence, not only from him, but the entire football team.
And Kirby changes the down and distance. Instead of 4th and 1, it's 3rd and 10 for Stockton. And he put it right there. Great ball by Stockton, just couldn't get hauled in. So Covey White, who had a touchdown earlier, dropped it.
Beautifully thrown football, one-on-one, runs an incredible route as White, steps on the toes of the defender and then gets width from there. And a perfectly thrown football, and we're going to get a big boy field goal here. About 54 yards, see if Team Black can walk away with a 3-point win.
And it's Liam Badger, the backup kicker. Peyton Woodring's the starter, but Team Black has the backup. Badger from 54 had the distance, but nowhere near the accuracy. The clock at zeros, tied at 20. Kirby Smart has to be happy with how this spring game went. Just competitive, hard hits, great plays, great catches. Dom Lovett stole the show there, tying it at 20 with a great grab right at the end of regulation. Now, what an edition of the G-Day game here in Athens. An awesome atmosphere between the hedges. And Kirby and Carson both said it. The competitiveness that both sides brought to this game, they're going to bring it to the fall.
Oh, yeah. One thing you know about Kirby and this team, they are going to compete every single day. And we touched on it. Kirby said it, healthy, something they battled all last season. But right now feeling really good as they head into the next phase of the offseason here at the University of Georgia.
A great preview of one of the preseason favorites. Georgia going to try and win a 3rd national championship in 4 years. That does it for the spring game in Athens. Aaron Taylor, I'm Jay saying so long from Sanford Stadium.